takanas in short. Every student, whether of a sibling or non-sibling, must apply to at least 3 schools. Again, everyone must apply to at least 3 schools, not including Beis Shengel. Let me explain. Beis Shengel's elementary school, Beis Rivka Rachel, feeds directly into their high school. If you're an 8th grader in Beis Rivka Rachel, you can enroll into Beis Shengel's 9th grade. This year, Beis Rivka Rachel will graduate approximately 85 girls. In addition, Beis Shengel has numerous siblings that are not Beis Rivka Rachel girls. Beis Shengel will take a very, very, very small handful of girls from new families, but this will be extremely limited. Therefore, although everyone is welcome to apply to Beis Shengel if they feel it is a choice for them, applying to Beis Shengel will not be considered one of your 3 applications if you are not a Beis Shengel sibling. Again, if you are not a Beis Shengel sibling, you must apply to at least 3 meisters other than Beis Shengel. The 3-school rule enabled the meisters to open on time last year because the schools were able to formulate their classes and to send out acceptances earlier. This allowed them time to address the small handful of non-accepted much faster than in previous years. Although you may feel that one particular high school is most appropriate for your daughter, and you may be right, the Rosh HaYeshiva and the Mashgiach have stated unequivocally that all 6 meisters reflect the high and demanding standards of our Kehillah. Therefore, if you are not willing to go to any one of the high schools, the VAD has no kayach to help you. It is important to note that applying to 3 schools does not mean that you will get into one of those 3 schools. What it does mean is that if you are not accepted into any of your choices, the VAD will then work with all of the schools to find placement. Allow me to address parents of non-siblings. Not including Beis Rivka Rachel and Benos Bina, who have a high school to go to, there are over 150 girls who are not siblings of a high school girl. In your mind, the older meisters, Beis Yaakov, Beis Shengel, and Beis Kela, may be the only possible options. The math simply does not work. We have K'nai Nahara close to 450 girls in the current 8th grade. There is no way that the older meisters can come close to accommodating this growth. I want to make it clear that absolutely no one is suggesting that you not apply to any school that you feel is most appropriate for your daughter. Of course you should apply to the older schools. Just remember this. If you are a new parent, you have a much smaller chance of getting in. Why not broaden your horizons and also apply elsewhere? Become educated about all the meisters, particularly the newer ones, which are much less known. We have, Baruch Hashem, 3 new schools here in Lakewood. Benos Beis Yaakov is graduating its first 12th grade this year and is under the leadership of Rabbi and Mrs. Chaim Finkel, veteran mechanchim for more than 2 decades. Oros Beis Yaakov, under the leadership of Mrs. Tamar Rothschild, is going into its 3rd year. Mrs. Rothschild has been in chinuch for many years and is known for forming a long-term kesher with her talmidos. And Ataras Yisrael has grown out of Benos Bina, a very successful Lakewood Mason. Speak to other parents. Everybody knows someone with children in Beis Kela, Beis Shengel, and Beis Yaakov. They have been around for many years. Benos Beis Yaakov and Oros are relatively new. You may not have friends that sent to either one. Call the office of either school and they will give you a list of parents that will be happy to share their experience with you. Then, if the school has an open house, go to it. Beis Kela's will be on January 4th, Oros on January 11th, and Benos Beis Yaakov on January 18th. Finally, form groups. Get together with other parents and approach the schools as groups. Your elementary school menahelas will be happy to help with this. Past years show that the vast majority of siblings are accepted. However, not every school guarantees that they will take your daughter, even if she is a sibling. Each year we have around 10 siblings that are not accepted, which is why it is important for siblings to also apply to multiple schools. Last year we had several girls who chose not to apply to 3 schools. They applied applied to 1 or 2 schools and were not accepted. These families went through tremendous agmas nefesh and heartache trying to place their daughters on their own. At least one girl did not make it until Lakewood Mesa. One more point that is worth mentioning. We had several very good girls last year who were focused on getting into one particular high school. They applied to 3 schools as they were supposed to, and they received a yes from their second choice. They did not respond to this acceptance, and instead continued to lobby and try to get into their first choice. When they finally realized that they were not going to make it in, they went back to choice B. It was too late. Choice B was no longer available, and they ended up with a choice that to them was a distant third. Don't let this happen. Apply to several schools. Do whatever you can to get into your first choice. But when the letters go out and you receive a yes from your choice B, respond in a timely manner. The schools will not wait around for you, but will open their waiting lists when their deadlines pass. Allow me to move on to this year's new change. Realizing that it is a burden to apply to 3 or more schools and to take multiple tests, we have Baruch Hashem announced a wonderful breakthrough. The high schools have gotten together and with tremendous achdus worked on creating a single test that will be taken by all girls. The test will be given next Sunday morning, January 3rd at 9:30 a.m. in Beis Vega. All high schools will have representatives there. It is important to note that the application process with each individual high school must still be followed as in the past. Applications have been mailed out over the last few days and should be filled out as soon as possible. The high schools will contact you about setting up an interview. Again, only the test will be administered by all the high schools together. The application process must still be followed with each individual school. Finally, I would also like to make it clear that no one can guarantee a place for every girl. And although we are trying very hard, and we are Baruch Hashem successful 99.9% of the time, in certain cases, usually having to do with SNEAS issues, the high schools will refuse to budge. It is our hope that we can create a positive experience and remove the anxiety that has been associated with the high school application process. It is my great covet to ask the Rosh Yeshiva Shlita to address the Netzah Sifra.